What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. If you were with us during the watch along, welcome back again. And we are back for a 5 takeaways of Borussia Dortmund's 2-0 victory over Zenit in the second game of the Champions League. And our Champions League campaign finally kicked off because our first game against Lazio was absolutely horrible. The Zenit one was not. The Zenit one was an actually pretty solid game. And again, this is another positive 5 takeaways, and it's a positive 5 takeaways because I'm just in a positive mood. There's a lot of little things in the game that I looked at, and when I'm really looking for a negative thing, I couldn't really find one. There were some couple things I could touch on and just talk about that it's not at the best, but for the most part of the game, it was another pretty comfortable victory. So, I mean, the only way to start off with is going to be with our first takeaway is the formation, and that's obviously a huge talking point. I was talking to you guys on Twitter and as well in the chat and just saying, are we going to do the 4-2-3-1? Going to go back to the 3-4-3. What is Favre thinking of doing for this game? And he stuck with exactly what I wanted him to do, and that was a 4-2-3-1. Guess what? We played 2 games with it. We have won 2 and 3-0, 5 goals for, 0 goals against. And that is exactly what we want. 2 clean sheets now. And against, the Schalke game, for many reasons, it was Schalke, but the Zenit is a solid club. So that means a nice step up, a nice transition period into this 4-2-3-1. And we played great. I thought we looked very composed. We had a lot of the ball. Both of these 2 games, we had a lot of the ball. The Schalke game shouldn't be a surprise, but I thought Zenit would have gave us a little bit more, but we shut them down. And with that, touching on the one player who I absolutely loved watching this game, is our second takeaway, and that is Mahmoud Dahoud. And that's because he was sensational. He really was. I was talking time and time again how badly I want him just to get a roll of games, to find some form. I didn't think he would ever break into the starting 11, and I think he played about 60 minutes, and for me, he was the best person on the park. Hands down. I thought he was going to play more as an 8 because Delaney played in that 6 role, and then I just assumed Witsel would kind of cover Guerrero, and Dahoud would do what he had to do, but it was a little opposite. Witsel was a lot more attacking, I thought, but Dahoud had a lot of time on the ball. He had a ton of touches, a lot of good passes. Had a beautiful spin. He had a couple of nice moves, a couple shots off, almost scored. And the chat we were talking about potentially getting a 35-yard banger. Didn't quite happen, but he came close. He just had an overall fantastic game. And I think the 4-2-3-1 is really suiting his game, and I think he's going to be very, very strong alongside Delaney or even potentially Chan, and now even Witsel. We got so many options, but he's making a claim, and he's staking his way into this team, and I really enjoyed watching him today. And let me know if you guys agree, because I'm all about Dahoud right now. He's going to be our player of Movember. We are doing Mo's Mustache Month in November for raising money for men's health. But he's picking up steam, rolling into that, so exactly what you want to see. So that's my second takeaway, and he did a fantastic job there. Rolling into the third takeaway, and that is the bromance between Holland and Sancho. A lot of people were in the chat were saying, why is Sancho taking the penalty? And if you think back to when there was a little, not really an argument, they were trying to decide who was going to get it. It looked like Sancho was going to take it. It was one of the league games. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. But Holland said, please, let me take it. I want to get off, break my duck for the season and get on a roll. Sancho, being the beautiful guy he was, gave the ball to Holland. Holland put the ball in the back of the net, and look at the tear he's on now. Every goal that Holland had led from that decision from Sancho. It's so important for a goal scorer to get off the mark for the start of the year. It all became Sancho was a great team player. And as soon as this penalty is happening, I said it was going to be Sancho because I'm assuming Holland wants to return the favor. Sancho was in a bit of a goal scoring rut, and he did exactly that. The 2 20-year-olds absolutely showing just class acts about each other, helping each other out exactly when they needed the help, and with it, Holland went and scored again, got just a huge roll right now, and if you think back of it, he didn't score before that nice gesture from Sancho. So I just love the way that those two are vibing off each other. They didn't have the most impactful game all around. They were a little quiet because Zenit play 11 men behind the ball. But when it had to be done, Sancho stepped up with composure and put the ball in the back of the net, and Holland does what Holland does and had a nice finish through the legs of Zenit's keeper for our 2-0 win. So that was absolutely great there, which leads into my fourth takeaway, which is just the composure. Everyone who's played this game knows the fact that you can panic. Watching the Schalke game, every week I was making the point where if it would have ended in a 0-0 draw, everyone would have said this is a nightmare. even though we had almost 70% of the ball. And then we eventually broke them down. We put 3 in the back of the net, and you walk away saying this was comfortable. Zenit was kind of the same. We dominated possession, but we just didn't have that lethalness, that one opportunity that we could have put the ball in the back of the net and took it up until the 77th minute. But we didn't change. We had a game plan. We had our motion in set, and we just kept hoping that it would come and doing what we had to do and just put enough pressure on this team. It eventually came from the penalty, and then Erling Haaland finished off the game. So huge kudos for the mindset of these players to continually going at it, trying to put the ball in the back net, and then being able to get the job done. So for me, that's huge, and it is a comfortable game. Winning goal didn't come in the 77th minute. If it ended in a draw, we could have maybe said differently, but it didn't. We did what we had to do, and it's a big performance all around, which leads into my 5th point. And my 5th takeaway is going to be kind of a big one, even though all the points I really like touching on today, but it's our back four. And I was very scared and very skeptical to see if we were going to be able to switch into that back four because we're just so used to playing the 3-4-3, and I didn't know how Hummels would do leaving the center of the 3, having that safety beside him, or having Guerrero lose that license to run. But they're playing very well. Guerrero didn't do what Guerrero did. You don't see him really in the middle of the park too much anymore. He's bringing a little more defensive awareness to his game. He played very well. He played fantastic in the Schalke game. And Kanji and Hummels are building that chemistry that I thought that Chan and Hummels were going to build. But I think it looked a little bit better. And the important thing is that Meunier is playing better. His delivery was still very poor today. He got himself a lot of good opportunities, but his final ball wasn't quite there. He had one that was pretty close to Holland that could have went in the back of the net. But he seemed pretty defensively stern to me, so the right back's position for Meunier for me is exactly where he needs to be. But that back four looked solid. They looked composed. They looked in place. Didn't have to have too much coming from Zenit, but both Hummels and Akanji took down Zumbia when they had to, and that's two clean sheets. So the switch to the 4-2-3-1, I just put a little jolt of energy into this team that we desperately needed. And with it, we are back on track to have a little stake in our group in the Champions League. So I was absolutely excited about that. I really appreciate everyone who came along for the watch along as well. We had our highest number of viewers, so that was awesome, and the channel just keeps growing. I really want to give a thanks to all you guys for that, and that is the end of this 5 takeaways. We won 2-0. I'm very, very satisfied with that, and looking to keep the momentum going, hopefully sticking with the 4-2-3-1 going into the weekend. So if you're new around here, guys, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.